Why don't you introduce the next match that is coming right on up?
Yeah, so let's bring up today's matchup on the screen. Same map pool. Again, every day we're going to be using the same pool. Just keeps it easier. And we're going to be looking at Fenix against Kolll. So let's go ahead and throw Fenix's info up on the screen. The interesting thing about Fenix, I guess the thing that makes him unique in this tournament is that he's the only matchup picker that's left in the round of 16. Of course, Rhett would have been had he decided to play TVZ instead of ZVZ, but that's done now. So only Fenix remains. He plays PVT, TVZ, and TVP. So we saw him beat Casper 3-1 in the round of 32, but that was Protoss versus Terran. Now we're going to see his Terran play as he plays TVZ against Kolll. He's been number one Peruvian WCG 2007, 2009. Didn't play in the last TSL, unfortunately, so this is his first foray into the TSL, and seeded 11th. So the thing about Fenix, kind of that these stats show, is that he's not one of the favorites, not at the upper tier, he's not at the lower tier, he's somewhere kind of right in the middle. So he's one of those players where it could go either way. He could have a bad day where he chokes, or, you know, he could do the incredible, like when Dreven took out Mondragon. So,
Yeah.
I don't know. What are your thoughts, Dave?
Well, especially given the setup today, I would probably be a little concerned about this Matchfire in his position, because in general, whenever you're a race picker, you're most comfortable in that matchup that you have doubled. So for instance, Fenix plays Protoss versus Terran and Terran versus Protoss. So he has not only a lot of familiarity with, you know, how to beat Terran opponents, but he can think about what would I do if I were that Terran opponent, and how can I improve on that? You know, kind of get to practice it twice as quickly. You know, but now that he's playing against a Zerg player, I mean, players who do play Terran versus Zerg, you know, who are matchup pickers, are traditionally very good at it. You know, like Rhett, for instance, has incredibly good Terran versus Zerg. But I mean, we've already seen Kolll demonstrate an unbelievable ability to play that matchup well. I mean, he went 2-0 against Idra in the WCG Grand Finals in 2009, where he ended up placing 4th. I mean, absolutely no joke whatsoever. And I mean, Idra is really loves how good he is at that matchup. That's one of his prides and joys as a Terran player, is his Terran versus Zerg. And Kolll still managed to defeat him. So as Fenix, I feel like I'm going into the match as an underdog, probably.
Yeah, I got to agree. Kolll was seeded 6th, so even though he finished the ladder 26th, he was in the second hardest group. So he comes in seeded 6th. He won WCG Germany 2009, as everyone knows. Beat Idra. We saw him kind of dismantle Moro pretty handedly, and he looks really sharp. The only thing in the PokerStrategy.com TSL thus far, we haven't seen his ZVP. We've only seen his ZVT. And he is kind of heralded for his Mutamicro, which, although it is a big deal in ZVP, not as much of a big deal as in ZVT. And also his Defiler control. Again, ZVP tends to be more about macro. So, yeah, I don't know. We know he's good at this matchup he's playing now, ZVT, but kind of, I don't want to look through Fenix, but down the road when he's got to play these other matchups, he's kind of... he hasn't proven himself, at least.
Yeah, what's great always to hear about Kolll when you read his interviews, he's just super focused. I mean, people are like, so you've won this match, what are you intending to do on the next round? He's like, well, I practiced for the last round, I'm just going to practice for this one. They're like, what are you going to do to celebrate your great win? And he's like, well, I just want to keep practicing because I haven't won yet. Just very dedicated player. And he's really young, has a lot of energy. He hasn't, you know, been corrupted by various forms of debauchery, as, you know, say you or I have, Shelly. He's just very focused on improving his Zerg play, and I think today is going to be a great showcase of, you know, his practice and his ability to play well under pressure.
Yeah, the famous forum post I remember from Kolll is someone says, "Oh, I've been playing Icy Cup for 2 years, and I'm really struggling at the C level now." And Kolll is like, "Well, chances are you're newbie. Like I started playing 6 months ago, and I'm B- now. This season I'm like B+." And people people wanted him banned because they thought that he was just making stuff up.
Yeah.
But no, that was actually true. Kolll just learned this game like under a year ago, and he's 14 years old, and he took out Idra 2-0. So they call him the Vanda kid. I think that's kind of justified. Let's see what he can do now in this game. This is going to be Fenix against Kolll, Game 1. Let's get it going.
And here we have game one of Fenix against Kolll on Andromeda. Now, this, I think, for a lot of Zerg players who are used to playing on standard maps, this can be a little bit uncomfortable of a transition. So we have Fenix spawning bottom right as the brown Terran pieces. And top left, we have Kolll spawning as the blue Zerg pieces. And what I was saying by that is, for instance, take the most standard maps in the world, Luna or Python, where you just have a regular old natural with gas. Most players, I think, are very comfortable with 3-hatch Mutalisks straight into an expand, and then, getting the hive and lurkers and lings and that sort of thing. But on this map, you have that extra little mineral natural, and a lot of players will put their hatch right there, their third hatch at that natural, just to get a little bit of extra cash. But sometimes it can be really weird knowing exactly what you want to do with that, and the answer, my friends, is Zerglings. So, I mean, that's one thing that really demonstrates if someone's comfortable with adapting to this sort of map, is just knowing what to do with that extra little bit of cash. And I'm really hoping to see Kolll do that sort of adaptability, not only integrate his nice fancy Mutalisk micro, but also just get really good with having massive amounts of units and just good center army control movement.
Right, and a build we've actually seen was quite common when Andromeda was famous, especially in the Korean leagues, was they would open 3-hatch mutas, but they would sneak in a 4th hatchery and an evolution chamber, and they would get carapace, and that means when that mid-game army comes out with a lot of Zerglings and they have that upgraded carapace, they're a lot stronger against the Marines and medics of Terran. Another thing we saw, if we look at Koll's base, he's doing 12 pool extractor, so this is kind of two implications. One, it stops the 8 racks, which is very common on Andromeda. We can see Fenix isn't doing that, which is lucky for him because he's cross positions. But this is also the fastest way to get Mutalisks out if you're doing a 2-hatch Muta build. So there's two spins on this. It could be a defensive kind of way to punish 8 racks, or it could be a straight rush for 2-hatch Mutas.
Yeah, I'm not quite so sure how much I like that. I mean, the expansion minerals for Terran are going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to defend, whether it be you take your mineral expansion or your gas natural. But I prefer something that really exploits the fact that we have that third mineral expansion that's right there. And it's not to say that, Kolll won't do that in the future. I'm just, when you open 2-hatch, especially getting Mutalisks this fast, it's so easy just to go into autopilot and just like, I must kill him with just these 2 hatcheries. And not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that, but I just like Zerglings, chill. I don't know what to say. I mean, I just want him to get some more hatches, just get some more lings out there. That would make me a very happy commentator.
I agree, and actually, I'm going to take this a little farther. I think this maneuver is showing a bit of lack of depth from Kolll. I think he's just confident in his Muta micro. He wants to go 2-hatch, but this isn't the map he should be doing it on, as you said. And I think he's sticking to what he knows, but that's not necessarily what's best on the map you're playing. Even if his 2-hatch is best, 2-hatch doesn't work out that great on Andromeda, so I'd like to see him playing with a little more depth, tailoring his build more so for what works on the map at hand.
Yeah, we see everything going pretty standardly from here on out. We see the early expansion going out, that nice little 2 SCV block. Wouldn't even mind if Supply Depot went down right underneath that bunker. That would be a nice way to sort of close off all those pathways. And ooh, I'm digging this. Look at Fenix getting the super early engineering bay, getting that plus upgrade very quickly. And, for a big macro-oriented map, I love the choice of getting the engineering bay early, because we can definitely get that extra 6 set of minerals at our natural expansion, or excuse me, 5 set of minerals. So we can pump out tons of medic marine. Just already bolstering them this early on can only be good. Moreover, he's already seen his opponents going 2-hatch Mutalisk, so I mean, we're going to be able to get as many turrets as we can possibly dream of super early on.
Yeah, very true. And I mean, upgrades are one of the few things that globally affect every unit. Usually it's just macro, you got to make more units, but upgrades, if you have more units out, they all get the upgrade. So it stands to reason it's better. If you're making a lot of stuff, you want to get more upgrades. And we can see the second barracks a little bit late. I would have liked to see that a little earlier. If we check the Spire timing, it's about 3/4 done. So he's really going to have to find his kind of Muta-sense here and start throwing up turrets if he wants to live the incredible
Yeah.
2-hatch Muta micro that Koll's displayed.
Look at Fenix, just incredible timing. I mean, look at this barracks right here. The first barracks was planted with enough space for the second barracks to go down at the right, and there's enough space for 2 more barracks to be planted down above. I mean, that's the sort of stuff that I love watching, is just building placement sort of come together at the last second, and that's just really demonstrates he has a very nice comfort with the situation he's in, keeping his money super low, already getting that +1 upgrade, stims out, but alas, looks like when this game was played, Jinro had to depart because of lag, because he's in Sweden, so, you know. Enough personal information about Jinro. We do see the +1... I'm just going off on it. Let's go back to the Wonder Kid Kolll, who, as you mentioned before the cast, was Amish only 1 month ago and has recently just bought a computer and begun practicing, and is already pretty much the best foreign Zerg around. He's getting that +1 attack upgrade for his Mutalist, and, you know, if you can get that up, you can kill turrets in 2 swipes with 11 Mutalists, which is so helpful. And here they are coming right in, already managing to take out a few SCVs, and the Marines just only recently got stimmed, so it looks like he's going to do a pretty decent job of repelling this.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about 2-hatch is you get there before Marine range is done. We see Fenix put up a lot of turrets, and Muta's forced to take damage to get in, but now they're in at the mineral lines. SCV's running very quickly, I like that. And Marine range still not even started for Fenix, so he needs to get on that. Koll doing some nice micro, but taking a lot of damage, and he's got to be thinking about an exit route at some point. He can't get these Mutas out. Looks like Fenix is afraid to engage, and now Koll's coming in from the other side. Fenix needs to get in there and support his SCVs. Wow, these Mutas are really picking the mineral line apart, finding every hole. Now they're taking some damage. Looking back at Koll's main, looks like he's just committed to 2-hatch Mutas, making only Mutas. Seems like there's no follow-up outside of just making a lot of Mutas.
Well, that's okay, because Mutas are totally sweet. Unfortunately, the issue I have is how Kolll is going to be reinforcing those Mutalists. And there, I think that's his hole right there. Right over the ramp, we notice a little gap between that bunker and the 2 turrets. I think that's going to be a little bit of an issue. If I'm in Fenix's position, though, I'm feeling a little bit more comfortable, because now I'm kind of locked down tight. There's really no good entry point for these Mutalists to get in there. I mean, there's a lot of turrets behind that natural expansion. There's a lot of turrets below it, you know, above. We already are getting a good amount of Marines. And now we're getting range, so thank God we're already getting in a good spot as Fenix.
Yeah, and he's got that +1 finish, and he does have 2 scans, the second one coming on now, so he can, you know, he doesn't feel like he needs to bunker up and be worrying about a lurker switch, because he can scan and see that exact timing when the Hydralisk Den is done. So I'm feeling good as Fenix in that regard. We see the Mutas coming in, and right through that hole are they going to go? No, it looks like they're taking a look at the bunker now, flying around to the west.
Whoops, I accidentally unplugged my headphones, and I'm back, yeah. So yeah, the Mutalists, I love the fact that Kolll went for these super fast +1 upgrades. Look how fast these turrets are falling. Look, just getting right in there, and all these SCVs are now suddenly so vulnerable.
Yeah, Kolll coming in. He's got the ramp, or excuse me, the cliff, which is so nice. Fenix has +1 though, so if he gets a good shot and a little bit of miss micro from Kolll, then he can really clean up. But look at the damage they're doing. Just a single turret is giving Fenix any semblance of control over his mineral line. Now that goes down. Now the Marines are vulnerable. SCV's vulnerable. Only medics left, and medics don't hit Mutas, so that's a bit of a situation for Fenix. He's forced to unload the bunker and get out. Taking a look, he's got 3 barracks now, so that's enough to pump more units that he can keep alive. Now flying into that turret by an accident, but quick control. He gets it under. He gets his units in his control group. Flying now into the main again, and just going to town on these SCVs.
Look, completely undefended. This little just bounce back and forth between the natural expansion and the main is just causing so many problems for Terran. And I mean, this really is just a fact of being at the bottom right position, because I mean, if you're at top right, you have a much easier time defending your ramp. I mean, you have a little bit more mobility there. I mean, and here we're just seeing the main just get torn apart. And Kolll really impressively doing a nice smooth transition just into normal play. I mean, we're seeing lurkers morphing right outside the front. We have the bottom left expo. We're taking guys at our mineral expo. Beautiful transitioning by Kolll.
Yeah, this game is reminding me of July Zerg at WCG when he basically invented Muta Micro, and everyone was like, well, we knew July's Mutas micro was good, and then he just killed people with Mutas. It was that good. Well, we didn't know it was that good. And I didn't know Kolll's 2-hatch Muta was this good. It looked like Fenix had it defended well, had good turret placement. Now Lurkers coming in. I doubt they're going to push in. They're probably just going to sit tight there, control Fenix while he goes to Hive. We see the Hive has started, and once those Defilers get out, I think Fenix has been set far enough behind that he's really not going to have anything that beats Defilers before they come out and get down to his natural.
Yeah, you know, as Terran in this spot, really, if your opponent is just pounding you apart with Mutalisks, and you get to this position right here where you've just sort of barely held everything off and you're starting to stabilize, you're actually in pretty good shape if your opponent is just going straight up with pure 2-hatch Mutalisks. But the instant that you see those Lurkers, that's just a huge crushing blow, because you know that your opponent has already begun teching. We see a scan right there in the main of Kolll. Fenix is completely aware of the fact that Hive is almost done. We're already seeing it at the big bulge stage, and that, +1 carapace upgrade's done. Bottom left is already running and operational. Just excellent, excellent transitioning job by Kolll.
Yeah, and I mean, what can Fenix do at this point? He's probably not going to be able to get a Science Vessel out in time, and even if he does, he's only going to have 1 Irradiate to pick off that Defiler, and I mean, Kolll's working on 3 Geysers now. He's probably going to have a 4th one now, putting a Nidus down at bottom left. It's just going to be a stream of Defilers. We see the Defiler mound almost a quarter done, and the add-on for the starport just started now, and the science facility about a quarter done too. So, as I was saying, if he gets that 1 science vessel, it gets a 1 Irradiate, well, that's all fine and dandy, but it's, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th Defiler that's going to come and pound Fenix into the ground.
I mean, we even see in the center of the map, those Overlords are even coming to reinforce that front contain. Just incredible confidence by those Overlords. And look this scan, look at this very early pushing job by Fenix. Getting 1 guy in range, but look Kolll, look at the nice calm control, just unburrowing 1 lurker at a time. Continuing to scan, he has enough scan to do that twice more. So he might be able to really just push out aggressively early. I think Fenix is aware of the sort of yucky situation that he's in right now.
Look at the cuteness of Kolll. He's sending in 1 Zergling at a time to try to draw tank hits because those tanks fire so slowly. Very, very cute from him. And another thing I wanted to mention about Fenix positioning as Fenix drives Kolll back is he's got this turret in behind. A lot of people say, I need the turret to detect, so I'm going to put the turret in front. And then the lurkers just kill it. So that's not what you want to be doing, and I really like the positioning of that turret behind the bunkers. And Fenix is doing what he needs to do here, try to soften the army up, drive it back so that the Defilers can't just stroll into the natural. And he's also made a dropship which is flying across 3 o'clock, gets spotted by an Overlord. I'm not sure if he consciously registered that, but this is another nice thing. If someone's going straight for Defilers, you can put a drop in their main and really slow that timing down.
Yeah, and look at Kolll with this instant reaction timing. I was actually, the moment that dropship went by that Overlord, I darted over to Kolll's main to see if he would respond, and his Sunken Colony immediately dropped down, and already Guardians are at the back to, distract Fenix's attention from that drop as well.
Yeah, and this is so annoying, because if you have that Science Vessel out, you're going to make a Wraith now to deal with that, and that means your second Science Vessel is going to be slower, or you're going to use your first Science Vessel to irradiate the Guardians when the Defilers are coming. Fenix going straight into the main. What's he going to target? It looks like he started on the Greater Spire. Now he's going for the drones. I'm not sure I really agree with that. Kolll has so much map control and so many units coming back that he should have just picked a building and killed it. Now trying to take out the Lurkers. The Sunkens are going to finish, and that's just going to clean everything up. And now Koll's going to, aim all his ballistic missiles at Fenix's natural. Fenix still in trouble with these 3 Guardians just on hold position, cleaning everything up. Really, really tough situation for Fenix.
Yeah, look at this Guardian at the bottom. 13 kills. Jesus. And in all this time, where Fenix got that super ultra fast engineering bait, he's still only at +1/+0. He did not get the +1 armor upgrade. So, I mean, that Mutalisk micro not only just did damage straight up, but sort of psychologically distracted Fenix from what he wanted to be doing. Yeah, I mean, this is just a really nice little move to be able to swing around the backside and to be able to, you know, just cut off those little extra bits of defilers. And look at this, the tank's coming in from the right. Wow, it's kind of rare you actually get to see a Terran player surrounding the Zerg player. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, and I mean, at this stage in the game, it's just, you know, not so good. I mean, we already see that expansion going down at the top. I mean, really, it's just this contain that Terran needs to break. Then Terran can start feeling a little bit more comfortable there. I mean, like, with too many units, though, are just streaming in right now. It's going to be so hard for Terran to be able to break that contain at the front. So it looks like this plague's going off. Oh my god, beautiful plagues going off. This entire top army has been completely and totally neutralized. Look at these, just a handful of Zerglings coming here and decimating absolutely everything. Jesus, that is an incredible, incredible plague right there by Kolll. I mean, what impresses me so much, as Chill was saying earlier, is just the speed at which we're seeing the plague come out. And actually, I think that that's okay to do. Just as long as you're not over-committing to Plague, because, you know, it's kind of a mistake if you try to get Plague too quickly, because there's a lot of players who just say, oh, cool, I can get, you know, a really nice Plague off, and then they do it, and they end up losing their whole army, because they really just should have thrown a Swarm to push the Terran back. But notice how Kolll is just continuously throwing down Swarms, and keeping this contain up. He's not, you know, getting overexcited, just very calm play, just continuing to just rally right up there so we can eventually seal this victory.
Okay, apparently I'm back in. I'm not sure if you can hear me, but Fenix going in for an attack there. Mine's going off. Oh, going to be a mine drag on the Marines. No, mine doesn't go off. It keeps coming up, down, popping in and out. But looks like this is going to be the big attack. Big swarm going off. Defiler's pushing in. Plague going off. Or apparently I just heard Plague and it didn't actually go off. But I gotta apologize for my vent problems. Big mine going off! And now the swarm is right into the natural, and this is where Fenix is gonna have problems. And he just GG's out. Wow.
That was just complete domination by Kolll from start to finish. I mean, really showing off how incredible his Mutalisk micro is. I mean, I was really impressed at his ability, not just to, you know, do damage to his opponent with 2x Mutalisk, but his ability to transition out of it into something really stable.
Yeah, and the thing that's more impressive is it's not even, you know, not that it's not viable, but it's not particularly strong on Andromeda. I'd actually argue it's a little bit weak to go 2-hatch mutas, and he just made it work incredibly well and finished it from start to finish. He didn't just go 2-hatch and then like, okay, it worked well, and now I'm gonna play normal. It seemed like he had a transition plan ready where he's gonna move from this, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna finish it up like this. And I mean, from Koll's point of view, kind of like Noni in the last game, that was just textbook for him.
Yeah, I mean, that really, really was quite awesome play. You know, it reminded me a lot of Zero when I originally, you know, saw him do this, like, super fast Mutalisk build. Because we've seen people do it before, but again, it's that transition out of it that's, like, such an impressive feat that he's done. So let's just go ahead and briefly introduce the next map before we get right on into things.
Right, so this is going to be a ZVT on Tornado. Now, as we mentioned in the PVT, Tornado has a lot of these kind of winding, small corridors, which aren't that much of a big deal in ZVT. You have that little bit of high ground, which is nice to sit lurkers on and kind of establish a position, but in the end, you're not going to accomplish anything. That's more so if Terran gets a hold of that. That can be annoying, but of course, Dark Swarm negates that. So I'm expecting we're going to see, you know, a reasonably standard 2 or 3 hatch muta against 1 barracks expand going into the mid and late game here. What do you expect, eh?
Yeah, I mean, anything that really favors a nice little abuse of mid-game tactics. I mean, standard is going to be, you know, the nicest way to play, because on Tornado you have all those mineral patches that are just so tightly packed back against the side of the wall that it can be a little bit little uncomfortable to really try to like force your Mutalisks in there and force them to do a ton of damage. They end up being way more effective just as a sort of mid-game control tool. So I feel like after Zerg gets high, that's really when things start getting interesting, because there's so many paths just sort of wander around with your lurkers that it can lead to some really cool looking games.
And one thing I just want to mention about the last game, which I'm looking forward on this game as well, even though Fenix got more or less dismantled, I think a lot of the maneuvers he did, where he moved his army, he knew he needed to push out, his building placement, the build that he selected, I think it was all great. So I really think, unlike Tarson where he looked nervous, I think in the first game, Fenix looked really good. So that makes me really optimistic for the series, and I think we're going to see a great game here in Game 2 on Tornado. I can't wait. Let's get into it.